Welcome back to Zone 5 Studio. My name is Abha and I am a home gardener here in Zone 5 of Brampton, Ontario, Canada. I love to share my gardening experience and useful tips to help my fellow gardeners get success in their garden in the same zone. Today's video is all about an overview of my garden. I hope you have also started your garden. So let's get into the video and let's see how my plants are doing. So let's do a quick overview of the garden. Just mind it, I don't have a drone to record, so I just did a snapshot from my bedroom window to just give you a glimpse from the top. And it was raining today, so it's a little foggy. And this is the DIY planter that I created with a water feature. Those who follow me on the Instagram can watch my reel how I created it, though I'm going to put a separate video on how I created it. So let's have a look on this, and then I will take you through each of my bed and the area of my garden one by one. So enjoy the view. So let's begin with my mini bed that I just created this season. Initially I planned to plant sunflowers in it, but then I end up planting English cucumber. And look at this, as you can see it has already started producing cucumbers. In the past I have only grown slicing cucumbers. This is my debut with this variety and I'm glad I tried my hands on it, as this variety gives a bigger and a sweeter fruit. Since I have already harvested one, I can bet on the taste of it too. So I would strongly suggest anyone who wants to grow the cucumbers, you should try your hands with English cucumber wine. One thing that I have started doing from the past 2 seasons is to add lots and lots of flowers in my garden that not only add a punch of colors but also attract beneficial pollinators. Now moving on to what I have named as tomato bed. This year I have created this new structure to support my indeterminate variety of tomatoes. Every year, whenever there is a windstorm, these tomatoes used to snap and break in spite of having a cage around them. So this year I came up with this idea of supporting them with a coiling string around them as they grow along, with providing a cage around them as well. I used to tie them after the damage was done. So this year I decided, let's see how the results will come if I begin my gardening with this system. So let's see how much success I will get this time. This time I have also adopted a new way of companion planting. Instead of going traditional and logical way, I have planned the beds based on polyculture techniques, keeping in mind 3 simple things: size of the plant, maturity period of the plant, and plant's requirement. When we think of companion planting, we get into too much logic and then we end up doing nothing, as we get anxious that we might not get any produce if we put too many plants. But to be honest, planting a crop is all about new experiences mixed with your past experiences. And with 13 plus years of my experience of growing in zone 5, I can be sure that this method will work. And it is already working. As you can see, my plants are just, lush green, healthy, with no pest attack. For example, in this bed, I had sowed garlic bulbs in the front row in the early spring, and they are roots and take 8 to 9 months to get to the full maturity. So by the time they are ready to be pulled out, it will be the start of the next season. Then in between, I have chives that again is a perennial crop, and they do best in early spring and late spring. And in between, I have planted some basil, some carrots, which are again roots, so no competing for space with tomatoes. As you can see, they are all doing well. All of them were planted in their respective beds just 45 days ago, and I'm already seeing good results. Though the weather is too hot and too wet and not favorable for some of the crops. So when we adopt simple method of polyculture, we end up adding some trap crops, some nurse crops naturally, as I have added garlic, chives, and basil, whose strong taste and fragrance confuse the pests and keep the rodents away. So I strongly recommend you to not go into too much logic and just follow the simple rule of polyculture based on size, maturity period, and their requirement. That's it. You don't need to think too much when it comes to planting. Just make sure they all do well, and you will get to see the results before even the fruiting season comes. So let's move on to our next crop. As you can see, my basil is also doing right. They do well in the shade. And here with the tomato plants growing up, basil is getting good amount of shade, heat, and sun that it needs to grow. And as you can see, tomato plants are also healthy. One piece of advice I would like to give is that keep your tomato plants lighter. Don't make them bushy. Just keep removing the leaves. You don't need to remove the suckers. That suckers produce fruits. As you can see here, it is producing fruits. So instead of removing suckers, I remove the extra leaves hanging around here and there, and I try to keep my plants airy and lighter. That is the key key to success of growing any crop plant. Air and light has to go through the plants, and that's the only way you can have a healthy and a successful growing period. So now, as you can see, I have more flowers in my garden. So now I'm adding on to my next bed, and this bed is my cucumber bed. And here as well, I have followed the same method of polyculture. Here I have chosen some alliums in the front row, and in the middle I have sowed my turnips, and in the last row, that is against the wall of the shed, I have planted my slicing cucumbers. As you can see, the turnips are roots that are going to grow inside, and their growing period is 90 days. Alyssum flowers are going to act as a trap crop for the pests that might like the cucumber vines, and the vines are going to go up the roof of the shed. So there is no competing of space for sure. And as I mentioned that you have to keep your plants lighter, I will keep removing the lower leaves of my cucumber plants, keep harvesting the turnip leaves as they are edible, and alyssums will keep flowering that are going to keep the pest away. Even in the front row, I have decided to start my pumpkins along with the chili plants. I had also planted okra plants, but I had no success with the okra plant because the weather is not favorable. They are still lying there, but there is no growth, so I might not get any results from okra plants this year. So instead, I just paired my pumpkin plants with my chili plants, because again the pumpkins are going to sprawl in this bed on the ground. I will make them sprawl keep them, in check, keep removing the leaves and make them sprawl in this limited space, and they will grow fruit. In this side of this bed, alongside, I have planted my yellow zucchinis, and there are also some okra and chili plants. So again, the chili plants are going to grow tall, and zucchini and pumpkin plants are going to sprawl on the ground. Again, in this bed, in the corner, I have planted bitter melon that is going to go up as a climber, so no competing of space. Alongside this bitter melon, I have planted some chili plants and some carrots as well. Again, carrots will go inside the bed, and bitter melons is going to go up, and the chili plants are going to be there. And the chili plants, rodents don't like chili plants, even the pests don't like chili plants. So chili plants in themselves are a kind of a nurse crop, you can say, for the plants. And at the corner of this bed, there are long squash. That is, again, those who follow me knows very well, they become so wild and they just climb up the roof of my shed and take over it. And in the front row, I have grown the beetroots and some radish beans, some carrots, and there are some chili plants on the corners. So the corners are surrounded by 3-4 chili plants. These are radish beans. These are not radishes, but the radish beans. And in the front row, they are beetroots. Not many, just two, because I don't harvest beetroots. I just harvest beet greens, so they are good enough. And then the long squash is going to go up the roof, so there is again no competing of space. Those who are worried about competing nutrients, the plants might compete for nutrients. Anyways, you have to keep a check on the nutrient supply. For this, you can follow my other videos, how I supply nutrients to my plants. So now moving on to the bed number 3. In this bed, I have started jalapenos in the middle. At the back, as you can see, I have planted some corn, and along with the corn, I have also started Mexican cucumbers, or you can say slender cucumbers, or we call it kakdi in Hindi. And so what's gonna do is, you can say here I have followed the 3 sister rule, but the 3rd sister is missing, as I have not planted any variety of squash, but melon and corn is there. So what's gonna happen when these slashing cucumbers, actually I have started beans in it too, so it is 3 sisters formula, because melon belongs to the squash family, corn is there, and beans are there. So beans are going to fix the nitrogen in the soil, as they say. I don't know how true it is. Just for the sake of it, I have tried doing it, but I have also added my jalapenos in the middle. As I say, I always believe that there has to be naturally some kind of, trap crop or nurse crop. So here I have added my jalapeno plants, which is a chili variety, and also I have added some marigolds. So moving on to the 4th bed, this is my brassica bed. In this, for the first time, this is my debut with the nasturtiums. This I have grown from the seed, and it's giving awesome results. I'm so happy to see the flowers. The bright colored flowers are so nice too. They are just I don't know, have words for it. They're so pretty. And for the first time, I have also grown broccoli. So they say that nasturtiums and dill are the trap crops for the brassica family. So again, I've gone with the rule. But as I said, I had also planted small radishes in it that I have already harvested. They had a 30 days growing period, so I have already harvested 1 crop of radishes. So again, as I said, I filled my bed this year and I already take 1 harvest, and now by the time the broccolis are grown, I hope so they grow, because all I can see in my cauliflowers, the flowers are coming. I don't know if I can get proper flower head growing because it's too wet. But I'm hoping to. And at the back, I have planted pole beans. Pole beans are climbing up the, um, you know, my fence. And now I will give you a glance of the cauliflower plants that I've, again, this is my debut. I have grown or started cauliflowers for the first time. And to be honest, I lost the tags. So for the first time, it was for my first time, they looked very similar when they were small. So I end up planting broccoli and cauliflower together in one pot. So let's see how the result, will be. Uh, but I'm hoping, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm so excited to see a cauliflower head grown by myself, but not too sure. So far, they are doing good. There are some holes in it, but I don't see any pest attack. I don't know what pest or whatever is making holes in it, because I don't see anything on the plant. In the similar way, because I had too many cauliflower plants, so I started a seed bag. I made a planter out of a seed bag, and to be honest, these beds, all of my planters are filled with, they are not filled with all the soil in it. I always fill them with my garden waste, the branches, twigs, dried leaves, lots and lots of leaves, and some kitchen waste. Only top 2 to 4 inches of the layer of any planter is composed of compost and soil, and rest of my bags, my planters, my beds, even my raised beds, they're all filled with kitchen and garden waste. So if you need more details, I'll put down the link below and you can follow how I do that. This bed is growing. It's a variety of, you can say, Indian zucchini. We call it ridge gourd. Right, it's a variety of Indian zucchini, and it's a climber, and it takes up the whole wall. It is going to take up the whole wall. As you can see, I had already put some strings on it to provide support to the plant. And even in this bed, it's also 80% is the waste, kitchen waste, garden waste, lots and lots of dry leaves, and only top 2 to 4 inches of this pot has soil and compost in it. If you need to know the details of it, kindly take a look on my previous videos, how I start my garden, how I do the raised beds, how I do the pots. There are so many videos on my channel and you can follow them. So this is the overview I'm showing to you. These are lettuce and coriander seeds, or you can say cilantro. I just harvested it yesterday, so this one's looking empty. I have feeded it with the compost. I fed it with compost, and then this one is romaine lettuce, I guess, and this one is green lettuce. And lettuce is doing great, and I don't know, maybe 10-15 times I have already harvested it. On daily basis, actually, we are consuming fresh lettuce this year, and it's a great addition. This is again my debut with lettuce. I never grew lettuce. And this one is, guess what? This is zinnia. I have started all my flower plants this year with seeds, and I'm so excited. They are giving such good results. And here's the picture of zinnia, because the day I shot the video, the flower would not bloom, but now it's blooming. So this bed, since the time we have made this gazebo and revamp our backyard, I do not get lucky with growing anything here in terms of produce. So I made it a flower bed. I put some sedums in here, lilies and sunflowers at the back. At least I will have flowers and a great view from my gazebo. So comment below if you like this idea. And look at this, I have put the pine needles as the mulching in my bed. This is the overview, and I'm hoping to have huge sunflowers here and some lilies. Before I end the part 1 of today's video, let me show you this beauty. This is my corn. in the most sunniest location, and look at the fruits it's developing. Look at this. One plant is having multiple fruits. If you can see the here. And I have paired it again uh, with zucchini. And look at this. Even the zucchinis are forming in this plant. So I'm ending today's video with this corn plant, and let's meet in part 2 with all other plants. So take care. Bye bye.